The money keeps pouring into NFTs, surprisingly. Jay-Z and Andreessen Horowitz were part of a $19 million funding round for Bitski, and Burnt Finance, which are the guys who burnt the Banksy art, have raised $3 million to build an NFT platform on the Solana blockchain. So regardless of if we think NFTs are relevant or not, the investor money keeps pouring in. People are still building NFT platforms. It seems like we're moving away from ETH to kind of look at lower minting fees and gas fees. And so I honestly have PTSD from the video of the Banksy art burning. And I know, Ben, you were really triggered by that as well. So what do you think of this story? Those guys are raising $3 million. There it is. Those guys are raising $3 million to build their own NFT platform. Yeah, I know. What do you think of this?
I mean, just on the burning aspect, I just take issue with destroying a piece of physical art in the world just so you can be the sole possessor of the digital copy of it. I think that's somewhat absurd. But whatever, maybe that's just my personal opinion. I mean, I thought it was interesting. You know, the A16Z and the Jay-Z investment went to a company that was previously developing a crypto wallet that could be like embedded into video games and stuff like that. So my kind of thought process there was like, okay, like we saw all these record sales of NFTs earlier this year. We're seeing, you know, a slight decline in those. And we've talked about this on the show, like what's kind of the sustainable way forward for this market? And maybe my next question is, okay, when do flailing other companies that maybe are not doing the best job building out their current product pivot to like an NFT marketplace? And how many funders are going to get behind that? Because we've seen sort of like that happen. I mean, look at what happened when Facebook starting to prioritize video in timelines. You saw media companies like pivot to video in all the different ways. And then that sort of go under once Facebook was like, oh, we spoofed the numbers and we're moving away from video. So it just kind of seems to me like there could be a pivot towards NFT marketplaces, and I'm curious to see what companies and funders line up behind that. But that was sort of my initial thought on this story itself.
Well,
yeah,
that's exactly Go for it, Amy.
No, go ahead, Jen.
No, I was just going to ask a question. You're wearing the same shirt.
You ask your question. You ask your question.
I was just going to say, how many NFT marketplaces do we need? Like, do these companies really need to pivot to NFTs, or do they need to just continue working on the product that they were trying to build, and or maybe disrupt a different space? Like, it just feels like maybe it's getting oversaturated at the moment.
Well, I see that burning video and it just feels like a quainter, quieter time. I was editing that piece and I was like, that was the quiet before the storm, because that happened. That was like, you know, that like primed the pump for like mass awareness. Like everybody covered this burnt Banksy thing, and then like the next week Beeple happened. So it really brings me back to pre-NFT mania moment. So anyway, thank you for rolling that video, control room. I appreciate that. But yeah, the burnt finance thing, I think, is potentially interesting. I mean, it does speak to your question, Jen, right? Like everyone is trying to do this, right? Like every base layer is trying to have an NFT marketplace or two or three that might engender traction on those networks, right? So, you know, Dapper Labs sort of wrote the playbook here. Forget Ethereum. We need to build Flow blockchain. It's quicker. It's easier. We can get more volume on there. You know, everyone from Near to, you know, like, I don't know, Binance Smart Chain to now Solana are building marketplaces that may also attract users there for various various similar value propositions to something like a Flow blockchain can do. So burnt finance, I think, is interesting. It's like a fully tokenized model. Like there's a burnt like governance token. It sort of aims to like unseat these like central auction house players. Probably not like the Christie's and Sotheby's of the world, but maybe more like the, you know, the OpenSeas and the Nifty Gateways of the world. So they got a bunch of funding to do it, and I'd be curious to see if they're able to move the needle on making a decentralized NFT marketplace actually work. But yeah, I don't know. NFTs, man, they won't go away.
They won't go away. I mean,
That's
I'm still curious about their previous products, right? Like, I think it's kind of cool to have a crypto wallet that could be easily embedded in other applications where you might be needing to use crypto, you know, like video games, etc. I definitely see a need for that. So I hope maybe someone else picks up that, seeing as they've kind of discarded that idea now. Zach?
I mean, you got to fish where the fish are, you know? I mean, like, you know, you see it, I think, a lot in crypto, right? Like, there's these teams that are well-resourced. They do one thing, it doesn't quite work out. They have the talent to do another thing. I think we saw that on another piece this morning, like this prediction market for NFT pricing, crowdsourced NFT valuation platform that had previously done something else, but then decided that, you know, the fish were in the NFT space, and so they've followed that and are working in that arena now. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. What do you got? What do you got, Naomi?
I would suggest that perhaps they don't have much foresight, because I see the NFT world transitioning entirely to the gaming world. I don't see these digital collectibles as really having much legs. Maybe I'll be completely proved wrong, and I'm happy to be proved wrong. But you know, when you're talking about NFTs, they really did start out as these things that could be changed by the platform and evolved, and it was kind of this gaming focused entity, and I do see the world moving back there. So the idea that you might be able to incorporate a crypto wallet with these gaming applications, find a way, you know, buy and trade these NFTs in games, I think that definitely seems like a world where, you know, I think NFTs are going to boom. So instead they've gone the like collectible route, and they're like, nope, we're going to do this decentralized marketplace for buying collectibles. And it's interesting. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's anyone's guess, but definitely not where my instincts took me. But Ben.
Yeah. No, I just think it's interesting, and like this was sort of the antithesis of what we were talking about, you know, previously with like this crypto VC raising like $100 million and looking for these really weird new projects. And like we were excited about that because that sort of expanded all the different use cases for crypto and ideas about decentralization and inverting how we think about the world. And this is not that, seemingly. And so that's maybe where I'm disheartened about it. But like, yeah, I've done some reporting recently on like a company, IoTex, who's working on like proof of presence NFTs to be incorporated into the Internet of Things. And that can trigger like if this, then that smart contracts. And like those are use cases I'm really curious about. Again, like how this marketplace evolves and like just kind of pivoting from one thing to another NFT marketplace. Just it doesn't get me excited about the space. And I think there's more space for novelty out there that is maybe being glossed out in terms of this.